Who is Good American Family's Imogen Faith Reid? 5 things to know about actress playing Natalia Grace. Hulu released the first 2 episodes of the series on Wednesday, March 19, which introduced us to Reid as Grace, who was adopted at age 7 by a U.S. family. Despite Grace being diagnosed with dwarfism, her adopted family, the Barnetts, ultimately accused her of secretly being an adult masquerading as a child. The Barnetts were charged with multiple counts of neglecting a dependent in 2019. The charges were the result of a 5-year investigation, where they accused Grace of lying to them while maintaining their innocence. Michael was later found not guilty, and the case against Christine was dismissed. Before Good American Family, Grace spoke out in a 3-season investigation discovery series, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. Now Hulu is expanding the story with a scripted version starring Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass as the Barnetts, Christina Hendricks as Grace's 3rd adopted mother, and more. As Natalia, my version is very manipulative and always one step ahead, and things like that. And we move on to my POV, where we see her struggle, the abandonment, and I think that was, as an actor, fun to play with both, Reid told TV Insider in March. I mean, the first 4 episodes were so much fun, and I just unleashed that image, just ready to come out. My villain era. It was so much fun to play, but I do prefer Natalia's point of view because it was so heartbreaking. And that's a nuanced story. It's hard to get to the truth. Keep scrolling for everything to know about Reid amid her leading role on Good American Family. I can't believe I've just filmed my first ever TV series, and I happen to be playing the main character. This experience has been honestly the best experience I have ever had. Every single person was so supportive, and I remember being so nervous on my first day, as it was all so new to me. She wrote via Instagram in August 2024. Thank you to everyone for always being the best every day, for putting up with my singing and singing along, dancing with me on set when I had my zoomies, and just always making me feel so loved and special. It meant a lot. Reid continued, I still can't believe I got this opportunity. I still pinch myself every day about what I've just done for the last 5 months. I'm so lucky and grateful. Thank you for giving me this role and believing in me. This story is for Natalia Grace. Thank you. And I miss all of you, even though it's been a month. Disney set Reid up with an acting coach after she was cast. From there, we broke down the script, broke down the character, and I talked with the directors, EPs, and a dialect coach to find my own version of Natalia, Reid told Variety in March 2025. Co-showrunner Sarah Sutherland praised Reid, adding, I mean, she not only has to play over a wide range of years, she also plays Natalia from 2 different ages and different people's perspectives. Imogen blew everybody away. As soon as everybody saw her tape, it was clear she was the one. In real life, Grace was 7 when she was adopted from Ukraine after being diagnosed with a rare form of dwarfism known as spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia congenita. Reid, who was 27 when filming the show, has a different form of dwarfism. What she won't say is she's not speaking in her native dialect. The type of dwarfism that Natalia has is different than Imogen. Duplass said about Reid during a panel in March 2025. She has to figure out all these different movements. She has a movement coach. She's doing all of these things in her first speaking role. This is something you shouldn't do until you're 70th, years old, and she just knocked it out of the park. Good American Family is Pompeo's first TV role, after nearly 2 decades playing Meredith Grey on ABC's Grey's Anatomy. Luckily for Pompeo, her co-stars were already a fan of her work before she boarded the Hulu project as the lead and executive producer. I don't have words now, and I'm so excited to not only be starring in my first series or going to LA, but working alongside Ellen Pompeo, the fact that I'm obsessed with Grey's Anatomy, and now get to work with Meredith Grey. I'm so excited, nervous, anxious, Reid wrote via Instagram in August 2022. I guess I'm going to LA. I didn't personally reach out to Natalia, Reid told Entertainment Tonight before the show premiered. But I wanted to make sure that in my version of Natalia that I embodied such empowerment, and I made my version be seen with so much light and my voice heard, and just fight for justice really. The Reids were what the neighbors called the good American family. Their lawn was trimmed like a military buzz cut, their mailbox freshly painted, and their Christmas lights timed to a gentle, twinkling rhythm that never overstayed its welcome. They were polite, devout, and always showed up to the town chili cook-off with smiles and matching aprons. The picture was perfect, if not a little too perfect. At the center of that picture stood Imogen Faith Reid, the youngest of the Reid children. A porcelain-skinned girl with auburn curls, Imogen had a smile that seemed to come from a doll-maker's dream. At 11, she still carried an air of dainty reserve, like she'd been trained in etiquette rather than childhood mischief. But there was something else about her, something behind the doe eyes and soft whispers, that made people feel both endeared and unsettled. The Reids said they adopted her from overseas when she was 6. Eastern Europe, maybe Ukraine, maybe Belarus. The story shifted depending on who asked, but everyone accepted it without pressing too hard. This was the Reids after all, the kind of family you didn't question. And then there was Natalia Grace. No one had seen Natalia Grace, not really. Some whispered that she was the family's first try at adoption, a case gone wrong. One that had left a strange silence around the family for nearly 2 years before Imogen arrived. A photo of Natalia had once hung in the church hallway. Dark hair, intense eyes, maybe 10 years old, but it vanished after a few too many questions were asked. The church secretary said the frame fell and shattered. Others weren't so sure. In the Reid home, her name was never spoken. Imogen, however, knew exactly who Natalia Grace was. Each night, as she tiptoed past the attic door, she could hear it. The rhythmic creaking of floorboards, the soft, deliberate scratching, like fingernails against drywall. And then the whispering. It was never loud, just enough to send a chill down her spine. Imogen. The first time she heard it, she thought it was a dream. The second time, a prank. But by the third night, when the whisper came with the scent of burnt sugar and sulfur, she knew better. One day, when her parents were at Bible study, and her older brothers were practicing football plays in the backyard, Imogen climbed the attic stairs. The air was thick, not with dust, but with something heavier, something that pressed down on her lungs. There in the corner, beneath a pile of old quilts and forgotten baby toys, was a single drawing tacked to the wall. It was of a girl. Not stick figure simple, this was drawn with intensity. Every detail of the eyes was shaded in, the mouth twisted in what looked like a scream frozen mid-frame. Below it, scrawled in a child's hurried script, were the words, "I was here first." Imogen didn't scream. She backed away slowly, bumping into an old trunk. The lid sprang open, revealing tiny shoes, newspaper clippings, and a medical folder with the name. Natalia G. Reid, Behavioral Observation File. Her hands shook as she flipped it open. Subject claims to be younger than she is. Dental records inconclusive. Episodes of aggression, claims voices speak to her. Family unsure if Natalia is actually a child or an adult with dwarfism and a personality disorder. Imogen blinked. The ache seemed to swim on the page. Somewhere above her, the ceiling let out a groan. "I'm not bad," came the voice again. It was closer this time. She turned, heart pounding, and saw her. Natalia, or what was left of her. Pale skin stretched too tightly across sharp cheekbones, eyes sunken, but unmistakably alive. Imogen, Natalia said gently, they locked me away because they couldn't tell what I was. But you know, don't you? Imogen didn't speak. She couldn't. Her throat was a knot of terror and something else. Recognition. Because she did know. She had felt it since the day the Reids took her in. The same tests, the same questions. How old are you really? Where are your real parents? Why don't you grow? They thought they could try again. Start over with a version of Natalia that smiled more, cried less, obeyed. They changed her name, bought her pretty dresses, took her to church and taught her to say grace. But they couldn't erase the truth.